So listen, this weekend we had the marathon reveal stream. Bungie revealed their third baby, their OG baby, whatever you want to call it, right? And listen, it polarized people to say the least. Very polarizing. I'm here to give a voice and a bit of a safe haven to maybe the vocal minority, maybe the quiet minority. Definitely it feels like a minority right now. I don't know. Well, I don't know. The internet is making it feel like a minority. But me personally, I am very hyped. I am very hyped. When I saw this, the lead up was cool. The trailers were cool. The ARG was cool, right? And I was like, oh, you know, yeah, it's gonna be an extraction shooter, whatever, you know, cool, right? Art style looks cool, all that. I thought it looked cool. I was already kind of like, yeah, we'll see what's happening, right? It's a Bungie game, whatever, we'll have one. Then the reveal happened. After the reveal happened, the gameplay trailer, I was like, okay, this is kind of fire. And then the narrative trailer happened. I was like, I'm in, bro, I'm in. And I was like, yeah, this is gonna be it. This is gonna be fire. We here, we got it, right? And then you check the YouTube comments, you check the Twitter feed, you see like a couple like YouTuber streamer reactions, and you're like, yo, what the fuck? We not feeling this game? What happened? We not feeling this game? And listen, there's a lot of arguments out there. And me personally, listen, I'm always down to have a cool, calm, collected, constructive conversation. That's, you know, everybody don't gotta think the same. Apparently just don't fucking exist on the internet. You gotta think the same, and you gotta stay in the decision you made. No in between, right? And I've been seeing people get actively shit on, like not even like the game getting shit on. We'll talk about that in a second. But like people who like the game, marathon, whatever, Bungie even, getting shit on, dragged. You like this dumbass game? What's wrong with, like, yo, what is happening? This what we doing? So I'm like, listen, bro, listen. I couldn't in my right mind as a human being and as someone who wants this game to succeed and wants this game to do well, to just stay on the sideline and not do nothing. I gotta at least, even though I'm a small streamer, small YouTuber, small content creator, I gotta create a little pocket of safety for my people that's like really hyped for the game, bro. Because I refuse to have that shit be over here. Listen, if you want to talk, there's constructive feedback all day long, and we're gonna talk about it here in a second. But actively dragging the game and dragging on people for no real reason, no substance, let's not do that, bro. Let's not do that. We don't need that over this motherfucker, bro. We don't need that. I kind of want to just talk about the some of the arguments that I've seen and some of the things like that, and kind of just go over that, and obviously give some of my personal opinion, feedback, and things and some perspectives, and then just talk about some other stuff, right? So the first thing that I saw that was like pretty constructive, that I also kind of agree with, a lot of people said the reveal wasn't really like received well, and it left a lot of people confused, because like essentially it was a big yap session about a game that a lot of people just haven't seen yet, and then they didn't really show, like, there seemed to be like there was more to show, or that there was more that they could have shown that they just didn't, right? A lot of people said that it was just like they could have shown more, they could have did more, but we spent like the first 20 minutes or something like that just being like, yes, these are the people behind the game, this is this guy, he does this. We really want to humanize the game, which I think is cool too, you know. Me personally, I was pretty happy with what we got, but I can agree with the fact that, like, yeah, they could have probably just like E3 streamlined that bitch. This is the game, bow bow bow, this is what we got, this happening here, this is what we got going on, and then maybe do some of the yapping shit after we saw everything, right? And somebody also said like they probably could have saved the 2 hours of people digging around with the drone and gave us some extra stuff on top of that, which I also can agree with. But I do think it's also cool, you know, like it's cool that they try to get the community involved and do some stuff like that. Maybe this wasn't the best way to do it for like the initial like reveal. We probably could have maybe the second go around or the beta or something. I don't know. Second point, also kind of bridges to some other things I saw. The art style, very divisive. Very, you either pretty much love it or you hate it. That's like, from what I've seen, that's pretty much it. You love it or you hate it. And it's like, damn, bro. And me personally, I think it's fire, so fire. I think it's so fire, bro. It looks so nice. I think it looks pretty good. It's pretty bold. I think the term they were going with was like graphic realism. I think it's nice, bold, colorful, you know, pretty distinctive, you know. And obviously, you know, it's art style is a very subjective thing, you know. It's one of those things you can't really like, you can only do so much, but when you're going in a certain direction, outside of you like completely changing how something will look, this is pretty much what you got. And I think it's pretty fair for people to be like, I don't like how this looks. That's whatever, you know. Again, if you just like trashing on something to trash on it, that's different. But if it's totally fine if you don't like how that game looks, and I think that's okay, right? Just kind of building on top of that, I've seen a lot of game comparisons, and these are like 5 that I've seen that are like on the spectrum of like, what the fuck are you talking about? And yeah, I can really see that, right? Concord number 1. Concord number 1. We gotta get that shit up. Slice that bitch off, bro. Slice it off. Slice that off, right? Slice it off. I cannot, if I'm about to mute that word on Twitter, bro, because I can't stand seeing it, right? This like Roblox Fortnite comparison I'm also seeing. No, it's a no. We're not gonna do that. Everybody just compare Fortnite to everything just because how big that game is, right? Roblox I will give merit to because of something that I'll speak on in a second. The ones that I like also give merit to and can really agree with, Stellaris and Mirror's Edge. Mirror's Edge, because it has that same sort of art style, but it's not as like, they don't use matte as much. It's like really glossy, really clean, right? And Mirror's Edge looks great. That game's like 16 years old or something like that. It look better than some games that come out today. Stellaris, I can also give merit to because again, in game, Marathon again has a super stylistic choice. They've talked about, Bungie talked about it a couple times, but it's like they're going for that like graphic realism, and within them doing that, they're pretty much leaning on super glossy, super clean features and styles, and then like super matte, super like bold styles, right? And if you've seen like anything with like matte, like if you played a racing game or something like that and you've seen like a matte black car or something like that, then you know exactly how that shit look, bro. It's like, I'm not gonna say bland, but it's just like, it's right there, it's bold in your face. It's not like super detail oriented. It's just like, that's it, right? Super like, and then you pair that with like a glossy sort of like overtone, or even put something glossy next to it, it'll give it that like, again, that bold, clean look. And then they have a lot of like sharp shapes and angles, which give it that like boxy Roblox feel, right? So I can give it some merit. I could give it some merit, but still no. No. Because if you really put some Roblox games up, and no. That was one I kind of like, So it's like, again, yeah, maybe they could do a few things here to tweak certain things, but again, you get to that realm of you start to change too much stuff, and now you're pretty much changing how the game and art style direction that you set out to have and be looks. And I think the game looks great. I think it looks amazing. You know, they could probably tweak a few things and make it look a little more like, for all intents and purposes, it's a stylistic choice, and it doesn't have to be a stylistic choice you agree with. That's just pretty much what it is, you know. And then another point that I've seen a lot that I can't really speak on too much. They're not doing anything different than other like extraction games or modes, right? Which I will say on the surface is a fair argument to say, right? And it's just kind of like a 2-3 pronged approach, because one, a lot of the stuff that they did show us, you can kind of see obviously another like extraction game examples, Tarkov, Hunt Showdown, right? Whatever. It has the same sort of principles, game loops, whatever. But also they did mention that they have things that they're putting in the game, like narrative, the narrative direction, kind of like the progression systems, the maps, a lot of the stuff, unless you've like pretty much have hands-on experience with the game and like a lot of hands-on experience, you can't really speak to too much until you really get into it. Now, again, I say it's fair because it's like there has to be something that kind of like immediately grabs people, which I feel like what Bungie is doing, at least in my opinion, is like they're kind of using the extraction as like a vehicle to give you like a broader sense of like what's happening, right? And that ties into narrative stuff, that ties into like all the event stuff that they were trying to do, right? But as far as like gameplay features and things like that, it's very sort of like I think that's just something that we as people got to get hands-on to really experience. And I can give merit to like maybe saying that like it looks a little kind of samey and like in an extraction sense, but again, I think you would have to actually play the game more to see what Marathon actually really does difference. Once you get into the weed of things, that's when you'll really be able to tell, you know. And then another thing that I saw that, again, I'm a little on. I've seen some people who've like had hands-on, and obviously some other people say it looks too slow and they think it should be faster, right? Which is also weird because I've seen people say it's like, yo, it's like Apex. Getting off track. I would argue that it's probably fine where it is, right? And the only reason I say that is because we're playing a tactical game mode where like you got one life, and if you get wiped, all your shit that you brought in is gone. Last thing we need is like 18 guppies just running, zipping around like it's fucking Call of Duty, or like slide jumping and bee hopping like it's Apex. We don't need that, because there's gonna be a bunch of motherfuckers crying that they just got wiped for no reason. And we've also seen in the gameplay showcase, motherfuckers was getting dropped. Headshot snipes, melted with SMGs. I think there's like a LMG in the game too. You will get dropped. Yeah, there's like a longer TKK for like what type of game it is, but you will still get rocked. Last thing you need is just something kind of just flying out the sky and then rocking you. You don't need that. You don't need that, bro. I'm not really a fan of, I just think that one's like a slippery slope, because it's like I think it'll be easier to, if they really need to, do things to speed up the gameplay. But like, again, once it's easier to kind of speed things up in my opinion than to like really slow things down. Once you kind of get into that like that mode of you trying to like piggyback and go back and forth, you start to lose a lot of people. And a prime example of this is like Call of Duty. I think it was that like MW2 to MW3 where they like messed around with like the slide canceling and like the velocity to come in, come out of it, and they like really slowed it down. And that threw off a lot of people, because you pretty much had like a year of people just being like really used to like being super zippy and doing things like a certain way, like faster, and then you slow it down. That's like super jarring. I think it's more important to have the ability to speed up versus like having someone have to like rein you back in, you know. Hunt Showdown's my extraction game. That game is very slow, but when shit pop off, you got half a second at most before you're pretty much you're in the spectate respawn screen, bro. Like that's the game mode where when shit happened, it happened, bro. It happened. So that one, I can understand it, but also it's a slippery slope, and I would say be more slower than going to the fast one. Now, another big point that I've seen, which I think has merit on both sides, a lot of people are very, very, very sort of cautious about the like free to play versus premium price, which at the time of like the stream recording is the 14th. They have not like said anything about a price, but a lot of it is leaning towards that like $40 price tag. I think that's a very fair argument, you know. There's a lot of good free-to-play multiplayer games and good free-to-play extraction shooters. There's also a lot of good paid ones that's out here, you know. And again, I think that's one of those scenarios where it's like, one, they have to do a good job of like telling us what we're getting up front. And then two, if you're telling us what we're getting up front and it seems applicable, and then also we have a good sense of what's coming after, then you can kind of judge more effectively where like that line's at. Because like if we're not getting a lot up front, but you're promising a lot after, then yeah, it might be better to go free to play. But if we're getting like a good chunk up front and we're getting stuff after, and then you're kind of like saying like, yeah, we're gonna be here, then sure. Me personally, hey, I could go either way. Free 99 is always, wow. Sometimes motherfuckers can be a little slimy with the free to play shit. So but also when you are charging people, now it's like, hey, the expectation does raise, you know. And nowadays motherfuckers can't even buy eggs. You try to get motherfuckers to pay $40 for a game? Whoa, hey man, I don't know. I don't know, bro. I don't know. So that's a very fair, valid criticism. And then the last thing I kind of just want to touch on real quick, but I just have to say it, bro. The blind hate is just so stupid. I cannot stand it, bro. I can't stand it. Especially because, like, for me specifically, if I see a game, it ain't for me, but I know somebody right now is screaming for something like that. Gone, done. You know, maybe it will come out and I'll like check it out again, but it ain't for me. I'm moving past it onto the next thing, right? Motherfuckers out here act like everything on the planet belong to them, bro. I need this mine right here. I need this too. You can't have it. It's like, bro, you don't like the game. I got motherfuckers talking about, I don't like extraction shooters. I don't even like first person shooters. I don't like Bungie's FPS mechanics. Bro, you're already out. It's okay. That's okay. It's not for you. Just move on to the next game. Go play something else. That's okay. But now we're actively shitting on people who like want to play the game. What are we doing? And like I said earlier, bro, I swear, dude, it's been nothing but this game is the Concord 2.0. Get that shit out of here, bro. Get that shit out of here. I can't stand it, bro. I can't stand it. Don't even get me started on the woke motherfuckers, bro. Oh my god. You spot one black person, one female in the game. Woke! Shut up, bro. Get out of here. So I can't do the fake. I can't do the rage bait. I can't do it, bro. I'm out. I'm disconnecting. But also, like I said, I can't stand by and have people who like actively like the game putting that out and getting shit on, right? And then one quick one for the PvE peeps. I know, especially because like it's a Bungie game, a lot of people are coming over from Destiny. Some people are coming over from other extraction shooters. Some people might be coming over from Halo, and then obviously Marathon people, right? Seeing a lot of conversation talking about how like there's no PvE centered modes, there's no other modes. Me personally, I'm also kind of in that camp of like, hey, it would be cool to have like just another kind of thing to do to keep people in the ecosystem, especially because, like I said, extraction shooters aren't for everybody, you know. That's just gonna immediately put some people off. So it might be good to have, even if it's just like a little bullshit like TDM mode, like I said in one of my other shorts, like, hey, maybe you don't want to do that all the time, but you still want to be in the game, in the ecosystem, and that keeps people kind of doing other stuff. So I do definitely feel for the PvE peeps, but one thing that I definitely feel like that Marathon is doing that I'm also really a fan of, it seems like they're trying their best to make the PvE stuff like and very engaging, you know. One of my favorite things that I'm hearing right now is that like it's actually hard to fight the bots, which I appreciate, especially as like a Hunt Showdown person. One of the things that like I kind of don't fuck with Hunt is like pretty much outside of like the main bosses to get like the bounty tokens, all the other sort of like PvE elements of the game, it's either just like stuff that you either skirt by or immediately destroy. Prime example, birds, horses, ducks, all the sound traps, you're just made to skirt by them and like not really alert them, right? So yeah, it kind of keeps you sort of alert, but like you're not really meant to interact with them. If you interact with them, it's bad for you as a person, right? Whatever. And then you got like regular zombies, emulators, bee shorties, and like the big jiggly boy that shoots out eels, whatever, right? Again, a lot of those you're either meant to skirt past or pretty much immediately delete. And a lot of them you can pretty much either you shoot them, you blow them up, you punch them a couple times, and that's it. The only one that's like kind of like that, like kind of tough, is like the big eel boy and like the spiky armored boy. That's about it. Most of the time though, those engagements only a couple seconds, but really they're there to kind of fuck you over if you get into the PvP, right? The thing that I'm really liking about Marathon's PvE again is like, I'm hearing a lot of people saying they're getting rocked by the PvE elements of the game. So like again, I know tactical shooters aren't for everybody, but at least what they're trying to do is make a lot of activities for like non-PvP centered folks to like engage with, and hopefully get some fulfillment out of that, instead of just like worrying about like either not engaging with it at all or just like immediately killing it, you know? So yeah, that's like, those are like all the arguments that I've seen. And again, like I said, bro, just coming from my perspective, I'm hyped. I would say I was pretty neutral before like everything came out. I was like neutral but more hype leaning, because I like the art style, I like the music, I like the world, I like the lore, right? But then after the showcase, I was hyped. I'm ready to go. I'm trying to get in now. Give me every alpha code, give me the beta, full game, everything. I want it now, right? I like extraction shooters, and this one I feel like is really good for me specifically because when Tarkov came out, I wanted to get into Tarkov, but one, my PC at the time was trash, and two, like everyone knows the Tarkov like learning curve is very steep, right? So by the time I was like actually able to like really jump in, I just felt like I was behind the curve, bro, like super behind the curve. And I had like a lot of resources to help me get into it, but it's just one of those things where it's like, bro, you know, it's already cooked, it's already chopped, right? And like I was saying before, Hunt Showdown is probably my main like extraction shooter game, which I really like. I really appreciate. The gameplay loop is cool, but like I was saying before, the only thing, one of my main gripes with like Hunt Showdown is like, outside of you fighting the main boss to get the bounty token, you're only really worried about like other hunters. The PvE element, like in world, you're not really worried about it, outside of like, I don't really want to alert the birds, or I don't want to alert the cow, or you know, or like, ah, shit, the bee shorty's like alerted, let me go run real quick, or let me try to like quickly kill her. You're not like really like engaging with it too much. You're meant to keep those engagements like really out the way, or use those engagements to like screw over other players. So again, that's what I'm saying. I really appreciate what like Marathon is doing here, because at least now it's like, hey, maybe if I don't want to go in and like just duke it out with people, I can like go duke it out with the bots, the PvE stuff, maybe do some exploring, some narrative stuff, and then bounce out, you know what I'm saying? So that I appreciate that they're trying to make the PvE engaging throughout the entire process, right? And I've heard some things of like they can make it better and they could tweak that, which again, that's something that's easily fixable. Another thing that I also really appreciate is the narrative, bro. Like, I know there's also some things going around it, like they don't really have like the narrative like super fleshed out right now. They just have like kind of the outline of what the narrative is, but also we're dealing with a IP in a franchise that is like 30 years old, that has a shit ton of narrative already. Like the narrative bones that they can like use and pick from are very plentiful. The stories that they can tell are very good. The world is super like engaging with like what the narrative is already kind of trying to build. I'm very invested in that regard as well. I'm like super hooked on like Tau Ceti 4 and like what's going on with all the like runners and stuff, and like what's the like faction ethics behind everything. I'm super hooked onto like actually being in the world and discovering what's going on, right? And then even like the whole point of like what we're actually doing in the game narrative wise, it's just like a microscopic kind of point of like what's really happening in Marathon as a whole. So like I can't wait for stuff like that. And then one of my like last points for me personally is like, bro, it's Bungie, bro. Like it's not like it's some like rando studio that's just doing, it's Bungie. And I know a lot of people are like, but Bungie is supposed to make the most groundbreaking game every time they release something, which yeah, fine, you know, they do have those expectations, sure, whatever. But also it's like, bro, if anybody can make a banger game, even out of a state where it's like not the most publicly received right now, it's Bungie. I mean, we pretty much got that with like Destiny 2. I even think Destiny 1 kind of had like a scenario like that, where like when it first kind of like was being shown, people were like, it's kind of cool, but no, I don't know. And they were like, hey, over time they gave us something, a banger, right? And from what I've seen from like a lot of other creators and stuff like that, they're really trying their best to like actively listen to feedback, actively kind of iterate on that, and like build a game with the community who's playing it. And also, not to add, they've had multiple play sessions with like creators and things like that early on, and they're having like a alpha, like, yeah, 5 months away. Some people would say it's long, some people say it's short, but I mean, I think the earlier you can get it into like more people's hands, the better, regardless if like it's a great game or not a great game, because you have the ability to just get all that feedback at once and like really iterate on it before the game is out. You know what I'm saying? I'm willing to ride it out. You know what I'm saying? My whole thing is I just want the game to be chill. Look, you're talking to the dude that wrote out Halo Infinite, 2042, you know, even like MW2. I played, like, I was here for it, you know. I was like, hey, it might not be the best thing on the planet, but there's some things about it that I like, so I'm gonna keep playing it. Even if like it's not the best thing on the planet right now, Marathon has a lot of potential, a lot, and I really want them to like stick it out and see it through, because I'm already in right now, so I can only imagine what it's gonna be like 6 months after release, a year, whatever. Like, I'm already in. And yeah, just like some big picture stuff, bro. Like I was saying, this is kind of like just the start of things. Like, we got 5 months till release, and we're already getting an alpha and probably a beta before then. So like, we're gonna have time to get hands on as like the general public. I've seen this, like I said before, it's Bungie. Bungie has been pretty solid at like evolving their games and like giving the community at least something to like really latch onto. I mean, look at the Destiny community. You got motherfuckers that put like 3,000 hours into that franchise just cause, you know what I'm saying? So like, if anybody can really take the feedback and like give us a product that's worth playing for the long run, it's probably Bungie, you know what I'm saying? And like the last thing that I'm gonna talk about just real quick, outside of all the like dickheads that's just like doing bullshit, having the community be like split and like actively talking about things they don't like and things that they like, I don't think it's bad at all. I do not think it's bad at all. I think it again, if people can like be respectful and like actually have a dialogue with like each other and with the devs about like these things that they like, don't like, could iterate on, change, I think it promotes a lot of growth for like the game, the community as a whole, even like the space as a whole, because we might, a year from now, 2 years from now, we might have an extraction shooter game that does revolutionize the genre because of what's happening, right? But we don't know, and we won't fucking know if everybody's just shitting on the game and then they end up just canning it. I don't think that'll happen, but dude, we gotta stop doing this, bro. We gotta stop talking like if it's a game that's not for you, we just actively shitting on it. We gotta stop doing that. So yeah, the conversation's super wild right now. There's a lot going on both sides. Like I said, I feel like personally the crowd that's like really hyped for the game has been kind of quiet, and the people who don't like the game for various reasons are just like, I don't know. I like I said, I'm very hyped for the game. I do plan on covering it, just because I think it's cool. I think it's a kick-ass game. It's pretty much everything that I like really want from the extraction shooter franchise right now, and like, I'm already kind of sold. Like I said before, it's an extraction shooter game. I'm a PvP guy. It's got like good PvE elements that they're like trying to improve on that make it more engaging, and they have good narrative bones, and it's in a fucking sci-fi universe. It's everything I need. It's everything I need. I'm at art style crazy. It's everything I need. It's everything I need. So yeah, like I said, I'm ready for it, bro. I'm ready for it. But yeah, let me know what y'all think. I would love to hear and see some of your thought pieces. If you say some bullshit, I'm just Mac blasting your shit. I'm gonna just keep it a buck with you. I'm just Mac blasting you, bro. It's like I said, it's fine to like not like the game and be constructive, but if you're just spewing some bullshit, I'm Mac blasting you, bro. I don't care. But yeah, be sure to stick around for more marathon videos from the boy. I will be actively promoting this game. You can call me a show, call me whatever you want. I think this shit's hard. Enough said. I'll catch you on the next one.